procedural things that need to be worked out between, the planning commission and their policies and procedures, just to make sure they're in line with other town departments.
All right, so how do we proceed here? Mike, take everything that you've got and kind of at our next meeting, just
I can summarize all the
summarize it, and
all
then we
the
can
feedback
make
that I've
some.
received for ideas, but I would like the opportunity to write a letter or email to the school committee and the finance committee and anyone else to give them at least the opportunity and notification that we're considering this and to make them involved in it.
Yeah, I think that makes
Yeah, it
perfect
makes
sense,
good
that if we're
sense, yeah.
taking a look at it, then
Have
look at
everyone,
all the
right?
affected,
It's just fairness to them,
just
to
to,
look at, right, here we have an opportunity here, let's clean up, even if there's little things to clean up, let's take advantage of it to do it.
That's a good idea.
In regards to the CPC, that's why I want to get to the next step where we can sit in a conference room and discuss those
yeah,
things out.
that's fine, yeah.
And that would be good. Now, Bob had mentioned it, and you kicked this off, in the council letter, there are a couple options. I think there's two methods for us to move forward, and I don't think we can solve it tonight, but I'd like us to go back and read and make a decision which way we want to go. If we want to make a petition to the town, or do we get the 10 voter registered vote?
On the path we took when we changed the rules associated with April town meeting as a result of religious, we went through the legislative
Yeah, we-
process directly.
A minor amendment is what it would be called.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
Through
but
the whole
on the
rule.
minor amendment path, we went,
Home rule petition,
Home rule
we didn't even
petition.
go to town meeting for that.
right,
The board just, again, it was a minor.
that was very minor.
Yeah, so it didn't require
Yeah.
town meeting approval to
Mhm.
go through the home rule petition. But,
This does.
yeah,
Yeah,
most
this
of this
was-
does, and most of this I would want to air it out,
Oh, absolutely.
you know.
So we just need to figure out what method. I'll go along, do the data collection, I'll do the contact and communication with the other committees and departments. In the meantime, we have a little bit of time, but we can figure that out, but
Yeah, just as far as the communication from the other boards, if we could run it through Karen or run it through the administrator's office, just so.
yeah, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I just think it makes sense to run it through the administration, so that the data collection, so that if there's any other inquiries as to what communication, that it's here.
Whoever,
Yeah.
I'm not looking for more work, but I just don't want to let this go. So I'd like to stay on top of it, even as a courtesy copy. But if what you're saying is you
No,
want
no,
them
what
to
I'm saying, I
send
don't
it-
mind you communicating with it, just say, but have it come through Karen to get it to you, or have it come through, so it's coming through the selectman's office to get to you. Let's forward it to Karen, forward your ideas and stuff to Karen, and forward it to you, and then
I can do that.
then we've got another,
I can control what people do, but that's what I will ask them to do. Sometimes.
No, but
you
I
send
think
an
if
email,
we,
they
if
just
we
reply to you.
draft,
you know,
if we draft a letter to these departments, basically saying, we're currently considering these things, what other things in the town charter would you like us to, would you recommend? And
basically
with
brainstorming. We're
giving them
brainstorming.
some time frame to come back to us that fits within the October town meeting.
Mhm. So you're asking me to draft a letter for your consideration?
Now, if you put, I can draft a letter, if you
Okay.
put the summary together.
All right,
and
that
we
I
just
can do.
put a cover letter together,
Mm-hmm.
and send it out formally.
You got it.
Make sense? Okay, we're gonna skip over the draft of the strategic plan this evening?
Yes.
Or not?
yes, we are.
Yes.
I'd like to make a recommendation, though. Can
Yeah.
we select a date to get back together again as a group?
Well, what I had suggested, I know that you might be out of the loop here because you were out at the last meeting, but Mike came up with an outline of a document that would take all of what we've discussed and put it into a strategic plan document.
Well, executive summary, really, of
Right.
everything we did. 5 pages, written text with some trend data in there that I'm still trying to collect. And that,
So what I've suggested, and it turns out that it's kind of in a delegation of Mike and Sean are pulling that together as a draft document. So when it's ready, I thought they could present it to the board, then we could go through and, discuss it, tweak it, whatever, and then eventually adopt it for first and second reading and make it part of our overall.
Yeah, just as long as we can get it before,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
take a look at it before we,
Oh, sure.
yeah, brainstorm it.
Certainly.
Right,
You know, it's
so
just take a
I
look at
thought
it,
we'd
go
start
through it,
with
and then,
just
you know,
a,
I don't wanna see an overhead and go through it this way and,
I would
the
never
first
do
time I
that.
see it.
no,
I wouldn't want to see it that way.
no. So basically, it's taking,
Yeah, sounds good.
pull together all the stuff we discussed, and then putting it into this executive summary with a bunch of statistical data of how the town is, why are we addressing these things?
Right.
Yeah. And I think the format that Mike presented, I thought was great, in terms of,
One of the things that someone was reading the transcript as far as our strategic planning thing, and that we tend to overlook, just it's housing, affordable housing, senior and affordable housing. We
we
have it in a
didn't
generic-
talk too much about that either.
No, we didn't,
Yeah.
and we should. So, page 5.5.
Well, one thing in the trend data I was trying to get and I can't get, that I'm gonna get though, is looking at the senior population, what it was back in '96 and what it is today, what resources we had back then and what we have today. So we can look at that comparison, and that's one of the reasons why
But
we're
affordable
talking about that
housing-
tonight.
Whether it be
We
affordable
agree.
housing, but not just for seniors, but regular affordable housing, then.
Yeah, affordable housing is what I think we've been working on the senior piece, but, right, the affordable housing, I haven't even touched it.
Affordable housing, we've been forced into, 40B has done something for us with that. But we have, and again, it's not so much the town as much as the state. I mean, there has been no expansion of affordable housing in North Reading from the state standpoint. I mean, Peabody Court with 40 units was built in like 1962.
I was
You know,
gonna ask when that
You're
was. built.
you're not talking about affordable, you're talking about elderly housing.
No, well, that's elderly, no, that's not just elderly.
Senior housing.
That's not just elderly
not.
anymore.
He's
right.
And then there's 4 units up on Swan Pond, 2 duplexes that were put in probably in the early 80s, early to mid-80s, by the Housing Authority, and that's it. That's all we've done in the town of North Reading,
From the point of view of the housing
from
authority.
a point of view of the Housing Authority with state or federal money.
Right.
Okay.
But we have, I was looking at trying to put something together, if you recall, a few years ago with the Sewell property, where this Rebecca Lane is now going in, right up by the senior center. Looking to have the town buy that just for expansion, future expansion of affordable housing, but, we didn't have the resources, since we didn't,
Well,
we don't
I
have-
think we should, approach the review of this and say, we had this work session, and we've had time to think about it, now we're getting it organized, and if there are things that we left out,
but
That
that
would
one
be
is
the
one big
time
one.
to
And the
add
thing is, the Community Preservation Act, which we never adopted here, because again, we didn't have the appetite for it, the majority of the board didn't have an appetite for it, some of us did, really served as a very useful purpose of funds, not only raised through the tax, a little bit additional tax on property tax on here, but also with the matching funds from the state, which has given a lot of communities a leg up for affordable housing and open space. Just you've had a ready resource of funds, and we never took advantage of that. Whether that's still available to us or not, we need to look at.
I believe it is.
I think it is too. I'm saying it's sort of rhetorically. It's like trying to plant a seed here.
The master plan was really strategic, and it was quite helpful.
Yeah, but,
Because that's all been better, we did have public hearings on that. We did work on that.
Right.
And it was not done just by us, we had a consultant help us with that,
Do we have that electronically? I can access it, or do I have to get hard copy?
so. I don't know if we have that electronically or not.
I'd like to see that.
You have it somewhere in your office.
what are you talking about?
The
Master plan?
The copy I have is a printed copy.
I don't know.
In fact, it's a printed copy, means there's gotta be electronic copy somewhere.
I just hate to kill any more paper here.
Yeah.
I know, I don't know where it would be.
Who's the author? We hired a firm to do that, right?
I don't remember the firm.
Bob
Rogers.
Rogers.
You know, Mike,
Bob Rogers was the administrator,
He's long gone.
planning administrator at the time. He
Mike,
pulled- he
send
pulled
me an
together-
email as a reminder when I'm at the house again, I'll
try and find it.
try to find
There
it.
should
Well, I
be-
think,
there should be
no,
some here.
those documents I typically had pulled out and put in a bookcase.
Yeah, I think I had mine somewhere too.
Yeah, you got it.
Somewhat available, readily available.
I may have
Well,
to search
I'll
the,
talk to Debbie tomorrow. 'cause
But
she
again,
either wants to
again,
know
I
if
think
we
as
have
part of our
it,
strategic,
by
we need to
master
talk
plan
about
or
housing.
planning office.
Yeah, we
She'll
do.
know
It's a
where
good point.
You
I
need something
certainly agree with you
on
on the affordable housing. Oh, yeah,
and
there's
there's
no
probably, there
reference
should
of
be
it
a
in-
copy here in town hall too, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and
I know that when came
Selectmen's
down here, Bob
office.
always said, you gotta go and dust them off to use them, because they never get used. Not just in this town, it's in all the
Right.
towns.
So anyway, yeah, it's a good idea, put that thing, executive
No,
summary
they're
together.
they're
and-
moving
Maybe what we do,
along, so
Mike,
I
is
mean,
what we
it's,
have done, maybe the first step is before we finish the executive summary, is go through that first step that we did when we edited all those sheets. And maybe we can meet, share that, present that, and we can make changes before we finalize that document.
Okay, we're talking about the
Especially the
PowerPoint.
SWOT.
Remember what we did on the white pieces of paper?
Yeah.
We just took it and put it in a PowerPoint presentation. So we didn't change anything. If we read something we didn't understand, we wrote it in red, so you guys can see it, so you don't, we didn't change a word or even a spelling if it was wrong. 'Cause no, I don't,
Perpetuity?
I just want to make sure.
well, I mean, first of all, we gotta say that Greg was the one that,
Greg put, right, he
Greg
put,
pulled it all
he
together,
did, and we were
okay?
taking what he did, and then there was other things we went in and just
Yeah.
added in that was maybe overlooked or maybe reworded in a different way that we didn't understand. We added it all in. And that's what we're matching up to this executive summary. So you're saying that piece, that PowerPoint
The
piece.
first piece is done, we could share that and be ready to go with
Yeah,
that.
well, we
in the next meeting.
reviewed that just briefly 2 weeks ago. PowerPoint,
Did we?
yeah,
We did?
yeah.
I wasn't here.
No, we discussed
Yeah,
after
discussed
our
it, yeah.
meeting, you know, we had a review.
Yeah. We discussed it, but I don't think anyone has seen the PowerPoint
Oh,
that Greg drafted up since our last meeting.
no, that's true.
And then I took, and Sean took, and we just cleaned it up a little bit more, and that we put in red some of the things that we'd say, like to add, or should we delete, or we questioned.
Mhm.
And I think Sean's right. If it's okay with you, I'd like to email it to the,
Just gonna ask that.
Email it to everyone, and we
Oh,
can
what
just.
I guess what I had suggested was
Yep.
that if you're putting this whole thing together as a draft, we'd spend some time discussing it. When it's ready for you know, when it's ready at that point.
Yeah.
And send it out. If you wanna send the PowerPoint out, it's just a summary of what
Yeah.
Greg put together. I know it's been cleaned up because there were.
well, we can get that finalized, and that will help us actually wrap up the executive summary, because we
Well,
want
give
it
us a-
to flow. We want it to flow with it.
It'll give us an opportunity to pick up things like Steve has just
Right.
added,
Right.
or discuss whether or not we want to make changes to what we have. And then that'll allow us to complete the executive summary.
Distribute it. I mean, it's, just make sure everybody understands that it's a work in progress.
Of course.
Yeah, and I would just like to ask, if you go into it, you read it, then you come up with some idea, you say, oh, you know what would be good? Throw it in there in a certain color that only you have, and then when we get it all back together, I can
Okay.
consolidate it, so we don't have multiple documents out there. I don't mind being the person consolidating and keeping it organized, if that's okay with you,
It's
or I'll
fine
try to
with me.
save you some
Absolutely.
time.
Fine.
I don't mind
Okay.
doing that.
All right, great. Town administrators report.
Please refer to the yellow sheet. I'll start, it's fairly brief. All of the documents for the FEMA reimbursements for the March and April floods have been submitted. The total eligible costs are approximately $150,000, and I'm anticipating reimbursement of just over $112,000. And you'll recall from the town meeting in June that we did reserve an amount of that, totaling $80,000 to reserve, to restore cuts to the police and fire department overtime accounts. So I think there was some concern as to whether we would meet those numbers. The federal government has gone ahead and culled down some of our estimates, which is why we have $150,000 in eligible costs, of which we can expect reimbursement of about $112,300. So that's good news. That's done. The other item that the board had asked me to look into, I received an email on, was the recent Mass Supreme Judicial Court decision concerning liability for snow removal from property.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, very interesting to see, but I did speak with Darren before he left for vacation. Darren is town council, and he informed me that KMP is in the process of putting together what they call their all-client memo. And the all-client memo is to provide guidance to all the cities and towns in terms of what they may need to do to comply with the new decision. So I expect that to be coming out within the next 2 weeks. We'll have that, we'll be able to review
Be
it
on our agenda for our next meeting.
on our next meeting.
You know, unless for some reason,
This affects private
yeah,
homeowners,
Yeah.
businesses,
Everyone.
everybody. It's,
Oh, yeah.
It's heavy duty.
Yeah.
and it's, just because Mother Nature put it there,
You gotta take